The year is 1583. The air in Prague feels heavy, as if the city itself is holding its breath. A crowd gathers in the main square, not to celebrate, but to witness punishment. Merchants pause their trade, children are lifted onto shoulders, and priests whisper prayers under their breath. All eyes fix on a single haunting object, an iron hook, gently swaying from a wooden beam. Once it was a butcher's tool, used to hang carcasses in the market, but today it will hang a man. This is the executioner's hook, an instrument of death and spectacle, used across Europe between the 13th and 18th centuries, crafted not for mercy, but for slow, deliberate pain. The design was simple, yet horrifyingly effective. Forged iron, thick and strong, a wide curve to hold the body, a sharpened tip made to pierce flesh and bone. When the time came, the executioner would choose his mark, a rib, the jaw, or the stomach, and drive the hook deep. Then the victim was lifted, left to hang, to die slowly, from blood loss, shock, or exposure. Sometimes the agony lasted hours, sometimes days. In one method, the hook was driven beneath the ribs, piercing between bones without striking the heart. The victim hung sideways, their own weight tearing the wound wider with every breath. In another, the hook entered below the jaw, through the mouth or throat, emerging through the head. Faster perhaps, but no less cruel. Others were impaled through the abdomen or back, a slower death, each heartbeat spilling life into the open air. None of it was random. Every choice, the wound, the angle, the pain, was a message. A rib hook for traitors, stabbed by their own betrayal. A jaw hook for blasphemers, silenced by divine judgment. An abdominal hook for sinners of lust or greed. It was not just punishment, it was theater, a performance of fear. Trial records from Prague, Vienna, and other cities of the Holy Roman Empire tell us how the hook became a symbol of terror, especially during the religious wars, when Catholics and Protestants turned execution into vengeance. One of the most infamous cases came in 1535 in the city of Münster. After the Anabaptist rebellion was crushed, the rebel leaders Jan van Leyden, Bernard Knipperdolling, and Bernard Krechting were captured and tortured. They were burned with red-hot pincers for over an hour before death finally came. Their bodies were then placed in iron cages hung from hooks high on the tower of St. Lambert's Church, where they remained for decades, a grim warning to anyone who dared defy the church again. Those empty cages still hang there today, a silent reminder of the cruelty men once called justice. But the hook was not only used for killing, it was also a tool of confession, a weapon of the interrogator. Prisoners were sometimes lifted briefly by the hook, then lowered and questioned. If they refused to confess, they were raised again, and again, and again, until pain broke their silence or their body did. Writers of the time, like Michel de Montaigne, spoke against this cruelty, arguing that civilization should be judged not by how it rewards the good, but by how it treats the condemned. But Montaigne's voice was a whisper against a storm. Most people believed such punishments were necessary, that fear was the price of order. And so, For centuries, the hook continued to swing, a dark reminder that justice in the wrong hands can become cruelty wearing a mask of law.
But time has a way of softening even the hardest iron. As the centuries turned, Europe began to change. Ideas of mercy, reason, and justice started to challenge fear and spectacle. By the 18th century, the Age of Enlightenment had arrived, and with it came philosophers who dared to ask, what does it mean to be civilized if cruelty is our law? Writers like Erasmus of Rotterdam and Cesare Beccaria argued that punishment should correct, not destroy. That torture was not justice, but the failure of justice. Beccaria's work on crimes and punishments, published in 1764, shook the foundations of Europe's legal systems. He called for the end of torture, the abolition of the death penalty, and a new form of justice guided by reason, not vengeance. Slowly, kings and emperors began to listen. Public executions grew less frequent. Torture chambers were sealed, and the old iron hooks were left to rust in forgotten dungeons. In France, a new invention promised a humane death, the guillotine. Its blade was swift, its purpose equality in death. No more slow agony, no more public torment. Even the hanging rope was redesigned, a calculated drop to break the neck instantly, instead of strangling the condemned before a cheering crowd. The spectacle of pain was ending. Justice was moving behind closed doors. Execution became something to hide, not something to celebrate. And yet, the hook never truly disappeared. In dark alleys, in wars, and in the hands of mobs who mistook revenge for justice, it still appeared, a shadow of the past refusing to die. Museums across Europe still keep them, iron hooks displayed behind glass, their shapes dull now, but their meaning still sharp. In Rothenburg's Medieval Crime Museum, in Amsterdam's Torture Museum, they hang silently, proof that civilization once found order through terror. Archaeologists have even uncovered skeletons showing the scars of such brutal ends. Broken ribs, punctured bones, a human story written in suffering. The executioner's hook began as a tool of labor and ended as a tool of fear. It reminds us how easily ordinary things can become instruments of horror when wielded without conscience. Because cruelty rarely begins with monsters. It begins with people who believe they are doing what's right. Today, we look back in disbelief, and yet the lesson still burns. Every time we justify suffering in the name of order, every time power is used to make others fear, the hook swings again, not in iron, but in spirit. Its metal may be cold, but its warning remains. When mercy dies, so does humanity.